horsemanship.com. I'm here on a blustery March morning. It is storming outside. I don't know if you can hear the snow on the roof, but it is just hitting us, but it's supposed to be quite a storm because, you know, my drifts were just starting to get lower than my fences, and so now we're going to get another 20 centimeters of snow. But it is the middle of March, so hopefully it won't last long. Today we're going to talk about bits. This is actually by request from a YouTube comment. Somebody asked what bits I prefer and what bits I use in my own driving horses. So we're going to chat a little about bits today. Now first of all, there's a reason why there's so many bits around, or why there's so many options, and that's because bits are really personal for horses. So there's so many options because every mouth is different, every person is different, every horse is different, so there's so many options. That being said, I have two bits that I use almost exclusively here. The first is this French link. So a French link bit has it's a double jointed bit, so there's two joins in it, so that eliminates the nutcracker action of a single jointed bit. This one's copper, so it encourages a nice wet mouth. It allows them to have a really clear understanding of the communication of the bit from side to side, right? Because the sides move independently. I start my horses in this bit usually. This is the one where they learn to be comfortable carrying the bit because it's a comfortable bit for their mouth. It's the one where they learn about bit pressure initially, is this bit, because it makes it really clear to them. Now, it also doesn't have a lot of stability, right? Because it's double jointed. Now you might find a horse where you use this bit and they love it and you never need to change it, and that's fine, and there are many horses like that in the world. What I've found in my herd, in my horses, is that once they start working on contact, which a driving horse needs to work on contact, once that happens, they like a little more stability, and I switch them to a Mullen mouth bit. So a Mullen mouth bit is a solid mouthpiece. It has no joints in it, and it has a nice curve for their tongue. So it's still a snaffle. Snaffle just means direct rein, so it means that there's no leverage on a snaffle bit. So this is just a half cheek, so that's with the one staff. A full cheek English riding bit would have another staff up here. But a half cheek bit is a driving bit, and it's a direct pressure, so it's a snaffle bit. Snaffle doesn't actually mean a single jointed. Snaffle means the action of the bit, which means it's a direct pressure. It's not a leverage bit. I find that the Mullen, because it doesn't have a lot going on, it's just a single jointed bit with a little bit of tongue relief, is what my horses prefer. Miniature horses don't have a lot of room in their mouths. They tend to have a low palate and a thick tongue, and I'm afraid that with all the things going on and lots of the fancy bits that we have today, it's too much for them. So I've tried some of those bits. I've tried the ones with, you know, ports and tongue relief, and the ones that are supposed to lift the shoulder, and I'm not sure how they work, but my horses didn't like them. I had a $200 bit, and out of the 4 horses I tried, only one drove exactly the same as he did in the $11 Mullen bit, and the rest of them hated it. So I think the less going on is often, so if you're having trouble, it's worth thinking about. Now if you're using one of those expensive bits and your horse loves it, don't change it. That's the number one rule when it comes to bitting, is if your horse loves it, leave it alone. Don't change it. I have a horse here who has a copper single jointed snaffle, and that he has chewed flat, and it's not even a good bit. It pinches on the sides. He loves it. If you try to change it, it's like you've killed him. His tongue is hanging out. It's the end of the world. That is his bit. That's what he likes. He doesn't want it changed. So if you have a horse that's going really well in a bit, don't change it. No matter anything I say, anything anyone else says, you stick with the bit that they like. And like I say, they're very personal, and we listen to what our horses like. That's what's most important. The other thing about this bit, you'll notice I have it wrapped in latex, and I had heard of doing this, and I'd always intended to try it, and I never had. And I was at a clinic a while ago, last year, the year before, I don't remember, and the clinician said, I think you should try wrapping his bit in Seal-Tech, which is the brand name of the latex. And it was a huge difference for that horse that I was driving, and so now I use it all the time. Very often I use a wrapped bit. It really encourages a wet mouth, it gives them something to chew on, makes it more comfortable for them, and they tend to really like it. So then I just wanted to talk a little bit about leverage bits, which you do see a lot less in the miniature horse driving world. But a true driving bit, traditional driving bit, is a curb or a curb bit. So in this case is a Liverpool. A Liverpool has these slots down here. This one actually, I would cut the front loop off of it because the horse I had it on, it was squeezing him a little. So it would, when I bought it, it had a full circle at the top. And there's a number of different ways you can use this. So you could use it in this ring, and it's almost a snaffle, so it does still have a bit of leverage. So the leverage comes from when the cheek piece goes through this hole up here, and the rein goes through here, when there's a difference. When the rein and the cheek piece are in a different ring, it's going to have a little bit of a leverage action. So it's going to tip like this and pick up in their mouth. These bits are correctly used with a curb chain or a curb strap to hold them in their mouth so that it sits securely, and you get some pressure from the chin groove as well. Now, if you're going to use a leverage bit in the show ring, in AMHA anyway, you're not allowed to use your curb strap, and you can't use it in any of the leverage positions. It has to be in the ring, or I think you can use it in the first slot. Now, what's interesting about these, so this is an arch mouth Liverpool. So you can see like the Mullen, it's bent, but it's bent where the Mullen is bent forward. This one is bent upward. So what happens here is when the leverage action of the bit is employed, so when this bit tips in their mouth slightly, then that's going to lift it right up off their tongue. So it sits back in their mouth like this. When you apply the leverage, this lifts up and gives them a lot of tongue relief. So this is why I bought this bit, and I'd really like to, I haven't really given it a fair shake yet. You can see it's got its latex on it, and it's hardly ever been on a horse. It's so clean and nice, it hasn't been chewed on yet. So I haven't given it a fair shot yet because the horses that I've been driving are all really happy with the Mullen mouth bit. So again, by my rules, I don't want to just change things just because I think this bit is a good idea. So I have it in my collection, and when I need it, I will have it and I'll give it a fair shot, but it's a beautiful bit. I really like it. When you're talking about buying bits, good, nicely sized miniature horse bits, I like Iowa Valley Carriage. That's where I got this, the Archmouth Liverpool from, and they have some really lovely bits. My Mullen that I like actually comes from horselovers.com, and it's a really affordable bit, so you can go check it out and see. So you don't necessarily have to buy a really expensive bit to have a good bit for your horse. This one that I think was like $11 or $13. What you want to check is make sure that it's nice and snug at the joint, so there aren't going to be any pinching, and that it's just a good quality bit. It's not super thick and clunky. Remember, they're miniature horses, they have tiny mouths, so we want to make sure that it's a nice sparring bit, and that it's sized correctly so that it's the right width for their mouth. So most of my miniature horses are 34 inches and under, and I go with a 3.5 inch bit, but that can vary even based on the size of your horse. Heads vary. They might want a 4 inch, they might want a smaller bit, 3 3/4, and some of them like the Iowa Valley has some really good different size options that you can work with. So anyway, that's what I like about bit. That's the bits that I choose to use. Just a simple half cheek Mullen is my go-to. That's what I find the vast majority of miniature horses that I work with prefer. And golden rule of bits, if it's working for your horse, don't change it. If you'd like to learn more, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and check us out at miniaturehorsemanship.com. Thank you.